Hello, all, and welcome. The topic of this upcoming discussion is on cognitive science and the applications it has in the world of learning and development. In the first episode, we will be discussing emotion and how it affects cognition, as well as its place in learning and development. Stay tuned to learn more. Hello and welcome. Today I am together with some ID coworkers of mine to just have a conversation on cognitive science and how it affects L&D. Before we jump in, though, I want to add a minor preface to the conversation. Neuroscience gets used interchangeably with cognitive science quite a bit in the realm of learning and development. So let's start off the conversation first by clarifying cognitive versus neuroscience. So in simpler terms, neuroscience is the study of the nervous system, which includes nerves, synapses, etc., and how they communicate throughout the body. Now, cognitive science covers an array of fields such as psychology, intelligence, philosophy, linguistics, anthropology, and neuroscience. Neuroscience being one of the many fields that cognitive science is involved with. So to wrap that up is what is cognition? That is the mental process of learning. So gaining knowledge and comprehending that knowledge. So now with that bit out of the way and kind of clearing the air on that, we're going to be talking about cognitive science and how it has made advancements in learning and development and how it's affected it in the overall scheme of things. So I wanted to touch base first with Amy. I wanted to ask your insights on, so studies have shown a correlation between emotion and cognition. How do you take advantage of this as an instructional designer?
Emotion and learning, cognition, are very directly connected. And so as an instructional designer, we have to pay attention to what emotion we're putting out there. If we're causing stress, if we're causing frustration, if we're causing redundancy, if we're making the learner feel like they don't bring anything to the table, they're going to have a negative emotion, which is going to, in fact, impede the learning process. So it's going to, take up space that, we want them to be able to process all of the new information. But when we put forth and we design for positive, emotion, when we design for sympathy, pleasure, joy, interest, contentment, love, it actually enhances the cognitive process. So as an instructional designer, one of the things that we really have to do is create that emotion. So we have to create the connection. We have to create that, happy factor, laughing, just looking at some of the different things like, I don't know if you've heard of biophilia. So it's like the connection with nature and it's the calming effect. And so, creating designs that integrate, positivity, laughter, connection, the sympathy, they're going to help our learners process. So as we're designing, we need to think about those things. If you're frustrated going through your own, in your own design, then think about what your learner is going to feel coming into it. And now there's the internal emotions that people bring in, but there's also our created emotions for them. So we can't control what somebody is coming in, but we can control coming in with, but what we can control is what we put in front of them as we're designing.
I just want to touch on something maybe a little bit more simpler on the concept of it, which is, as a designer, beyond just the look and feel of the course, there's other elements that you can implement, essentially like tools for the course to make the learner gain more positive responses, such as, what gets tossed around so much in learning and development, which is gamified learning. And I feel like that is definitely along the lines of associating emotion with cognition because you're adding a reward-based system that deals with recognition to the learner for getting something correct. And that's feeding on the emotion, that's fueling the emotions of the learner in a positive way, would you say?
Yes, but then we also have the, what is a motivational factor and what the age range is. So as we move into adult learning theory, most adults are intrinsically motivated. So the extrinsic rewards, while they can be fun, we have to use them sparingly. But things even like, so the gamification, you get a badge or you get a pop-up that says, give somebody a high five type thing, like great job on, going through this, process. So those little motivational things, that do engage our learners. And, we have the tools, we have a lot of different access to be able to design in a positive nature and integrate those strategies.
No, thank you for that, because that kind of clarifies a little bit more so why I've seen, the gamified aspects as external resources, as external additional resources, as opposed to something that's usually automatically included in the module. More often than not, I haven't really seen game aspects that are incorporated into the actual lessons of the e-learning, as opposed to something that's an add-on to it.
Right, and those micro learnings and utilizing those with the micro learnings, because of the way that adults need the information and they can only hang on to so much. At one time we can only hold on to so much while we're trying to learn it the first time. But then being able to, if they're interested in it and they like it and they're having fun with it, and then they're going to click and they're going to go and play this game now on it, and that adds to their emotional state. I liked it, it was fun, it was a fun little detour, and now I can go back to my learning, and now they're coming back in with more positivity, but it's something that they were interested in but not necessarily forced to do.
Great. Thank you all for sharing a little bit about how emotion can impact cognition and learning. In our next episode, we'll be discussing what the cognitive load theory is, what it is based on, and how it applies to instructional design. Until next time.